All right, we're here today with Kaylee. She is the PIO at the Long Beach Water Department. So, Kaylee, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your educational background, and your job here.
Sure. So I'm the Public Information Officer here at Long Beach Water Department. I've been in this position for about 5 years now. And my background, I received my bachelor's degree in journalism with an emphasis in public relations and environmental science and policy at California State University, Long Beach. And then I went off to receive my master's degree in strategic public relations at the University of Southern California. So
We don't hold that against her. It's okay.
So in my daily job functions, I manage most of the public relations functions of Long Beach Water Department. In my day-to-day, I manage the marketing approaches to our multifaceted conservation programs and our behavioral outreach campaign, and communicating our overarching brand identity messages to ensure that we are creating public trust with our various audiences. Community relations and building partnerships is a critical strategy of our communications programs. So I work with many diverse stakeholders and influencers in our city to help spread the message of water use efficiency and conservation. I also manage the department's media relations with our local and regional media partners and handle any crisis communications response that we may have.
Okay. So when you say, you kind of said the brand and sort of messaging. So what does that really mean in terms of our message?
Sure. So about 2 years ago, I embarked on a complete branding refresh project of the department. And really that was because our previous messages were a bit outdated and they didn't reflect who we were as a water department, as an agency. So after a long research process with talking to our many stakeholders, including our customers and our staff internally here, we moved towards a more customer-based approach with our messaging and our marketing. So our tagline changed from the standard in water conservation and environmental stewardship that reflected overarching who we were, but now changed to exceptional water and exceptional service, because we want those key messages to identify with our community and our customers, and we want to tell them what we provide to our community, and that's why we're here, and that's why they can trust us. So really those two messages are reflected in all of our branding touch points that we have in our outreach communication strategies. And it's really to communicate the value of water. I think that was one of our biggest overarching strategies with this new brand refresh approach, is to communicate the value of water, because sometimes that's missed with our key audiences and our customers. And helping them understand the value of water helps continue our communications programs, both with what we do and what we're asking our residents to do when we're asking them to conserve water and to move towards that lifestyle of water use efficiency.
So when you say the lifestyle of water use efficiency, we've already seen Anatole and heard his sort of viewpoint. So in your mind, what does that mean, the lifestyle of water use efficiency?
Yeah, it's really, it's about creating those permanent habits of lifelong water use efficiency, and really we want to have that reflected in all of our audiences. We say we have education programs and communications programs that reflect pre-K to gray. That's kind of our term for our audiences. So we want to make sure that we're hitting all of our customers, whether they're young children, whether they're students, and whether they're new homeowners, or whether they're looking to change out their landscape. We have a multifaceted and comprehensive programs for anybody to take advantage of, and really that's to create this long-term behavior change in water use efficiency. We studied a lot of campaigns in order to create this new lifestyle. We studied the no littering campaign, we studied the no smoking campaign, we studied a lot of norms changes and habits changes, and that's really the research that went into this new comprehensive strategy and approach to creating this water-wise lifestyle for our community in Long Beach. And an important aspect of that is making sure that our messages resonate with our community. We're fortunate to have a very environmentally progressive community here in Long Beach, and in a recent survey we were also named the second most diverse city in the entire country. So those are really important takeaways when we're putting together our messages, and making sure we have an inclusive communications approach, making sure that all of our audiences understand who we are and understand that they have programs that they can take advantage and help them create this lifestyle.
Okay. Yeah, we are definitely diverse. And so how do you establish a community presence in such a diverse community?
Yeah, so a big part of that is we have a very active community outreach events calendar. So we make sure to be at a lot of the key community events. Not only that's just related to environmental events, for example, April is pretty big with Earth Day celebrations, but we also make sure to be at those really large other community events that is not focused on environmental, but will get our audiences there so we can have that one-on-one conversation with them. And another part of that is to make sure that our messages are resonating with our audiences in various platforms. So we have a very active digital and social media strategy as well. One of our biggest strategies is utilizing video platforms and creating those short videos that can help our community find new ways to save water. And we're pretty active on social media. Our approach right now is to ensure that we're providing relevant, emotional, and humorous content to our followers. So we make sure to try to save water in a variety of ways so that will really resonate and really continue on with those habit building.
I think it's really interesting that you actually are trying to reach our customers on an emotional level. And I think humor is very powerful. You can talk about things that otherwise might be touchy or taboo through humor.
Absolutely. We took that approach specifically because during the drought we saw a lot of campaigns from other agencies that were focused on kind of scare tactics and showing them how our water supply was diminishing, and it evoked such a negative emotion from us because it was scary to see that. And so our approach really is to be more positive and to just really take a more friendly approach to that. While our water supply situation is, we always want to make sure that we're saving enough water for our future. But really, humor is a very valuable emotion, and we don't normally think of that as water agencies. And so I'm fortunate enough to say that and lucky that we've kind of been able to be a little bit edgy with our platforms and social media strategies. But I also caution that that's we know our audience very well, and Long Beach, it's appropriate for Long Beach. In some other areas it might not be so much, but our Long Beach audiences have really taken to it, and they really appreciate that. And I've been getting a lot more engagement with a humorous and friendly and open approach than we would have with scary and punitive and fearful approach that some agencies have taken.
Absolutely. So, speaking of sort of a positive approach and reaching all of our customers, you did mention school-age children, and even, we have a major university here. Do we have educational programs geared towards them?
We do. So we have a couple of a variety of programs for all of our ages, and we also we choose ages strategically and depending on where they are in their curriculum and where we can insert our water supply messages when they're learning about the ecosystem and habitats, etc. So we partner with an organization to go into 4th, 5th, and 6th grade classrooms to provide assemblies on water supply and water use efficiency and water quality as well. So we target those specific age ranges. We also have high school programs as well. We partner with our regional wholesaler to provide what's called a Solar Cup program, where high school students build solar-powered boats, and it also has a water conservation PSA communications component to it as well. And then they go out and race these boats on Lake Skinner in the May timeframe. So really, our approach is to be we want to provide a transformational experience for our students. A lot of times you'll see, and this is okay, a transactional approach, whereas we hand out booklets and giveaways and keychains, etc., some swag at our events, and that's great. That provides that key takeaway message for our audiences. But what we really want is to instill those habits in our young generations to create that permanent water-wise lifestyle that we've been talking about. And really that's making sure that we're providing an experience for them so they can really connect with the curriculum and connect with our messages. And we've also partnered with a local nonprofit to provide a water conservation challenge in schools where students will compete to save water, and they create projects that will provide actual water savings to their school. So those are some really transformational approaches that we have had in our water curriculum and our water education programs.
That's fantastic. I mean, to really get them involved in their own conservation projects. I mean, I think those are experiences that they will take through their lifetime.
Absolutely.
So, have there been any messages that were difficult to deliver? Obviously, we talked about the drought a little bit, but I would imagine in your line of work that you do occasionally have to deliver a message that people might not want to hear.
Yeah, I think really it is difficult for water agencies to communicate with our audience because there's so many other competing messages out there with brands and corporations. It's hard for Long Beach Water Department to compete with the Nikes and all of the really big brands. So that is difficult to reach our customers, and that's why we've taken such a kind of an edgy approach with our communications to make sure that we're being able to innovate with the other brands as well. So it has been a challenge, especially with the drought, but I think we've created some really innovative strategies and partnerships to ensure that we're reaching our audiences. Another aspect of our communications that's a bit difficult is our communicating to our multifamily audiences, and those are tenants in apartments or condominiums. And the reason why it's difficult to outreach to them specifically is because they don't typically receive a water bill, such as those residences in single-family homes. So it is difficult because we don't have that transaction with them where they know who we are and they know what we're asking of them. So it has been difficult, and that's why we've been developing those creative strategies and really trying to incorporate the Long Beach lifestyle into our messages, so they will be able to develop a relationship with us that way on digital and social media and through our education programs. So that has been a bit of a difficulty with reaching the multifamily audiences.
All right. Well, I didn't think about it from that perspective, that we're all competing for airspace, right?
Exactly.
We've been being bombarded with messaging constantly, through our phones, just everywhere. So there's only so much sort of attention that can be paid at one time.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, would you like to make any predictions about the future of conservation messaging, water use efficiency messaging?
Sure. I think really what a prediction about the future is that water agencies are really going to have to keep up with the trends of our audiences in terms of communications.
All right, Kaylee. So thank you for sharing everything